So welcome everybody. Today's event is all about body acceptance, and at Lovers all month long, we're talking about body acceptance. It's swimsuit season. We're coming out of quarantine, and we all thought this was a really good opportunity to address some of the things we might be feeling during this period and beyond. So we have an amazing panel of people tonight, and maybe we'll just start with some introductions really quickly and get into it. So we have Rain from the Lovers team. Rain, do you want to do a quick intro?
Yeah, hi, I am Rain. I am a marketing and e-commerce coordinator with Lovers, and I often am on these workshops, so some of you may be familiar with my face. And I'm essentially a brand ambassador for Lovers, so you'll also see me on our Q&As on Instagram.
And we love them so much. Elle, so
yes.
happy to have you.
Hi, great to be here. I'm Elle Chase. I am a sex educator and author, and I am a body image, body acceptance, and pleasure advocate.
We'll get very much into today. So excited. Bobby, I'm going in order of my screen.
Yeah, I'm Bobby Box. I am a sex educator, and I've been a sex journalist for about a decade now. So I started with Playboy, and now I'm with Grindr. So, you know, always pretty sex heavy stuff.
Beautiful Marla.
Hey everyone, I'm Marla. I am a sexologist and I like to call sexual strategist for my company, Velvet Lips, as well as the co-founder of the Sex Down South Conference. And I also do PR for Lovers as well. So I'm happy to be here.
And Alicia.
Hi, I'm Alicia Thompson. I'm the director of brand marketing for Yandy, and I, work with influencers and help to craft our messaging for all of our customers and our social fans. I also host a weekly show on Instagram, Thirsty Thursdays Live, where I interview people and we talk about all sorts of good stuff, normalizing the conversation around sex. So I'm excited to be here.
So there's a collective theme amongst all of us, if you haven't noticed already. I'm Missy. I'll be guiding us through the conversation tonight. Just to start, how does everyone feel going into this conversation right now? Just out of curiosity. I know Elle didn't want to talk about this, but I'm going to just...
Oh, no, I'm fine. I'm fine with it. I'm really excited to hear what everybody here has to say, because I think that body image is something that's very personal to us, yet it is something that is externally, that we're externally influenced by. So I can't wait to hear everybody's point of view, and I'm sure I'm going to get some pointers myself.
Yeah. So before we begin, just a few rules to lay on the foundation. Please keep yourself on mute so we can keep the conversation flowing. Keep the chat PG if possible. Just be kind to each other. No yucking of yums, as Jamila loves to say. And this is a safe space. We're here to have a really beautiful, vulnerable conversation, and we're just so excited to be here. And two quick things. We have a giveaway at the end of the night, as we always do if you've joined us before. $300 bundle of goodies from Lovers. And there's a discount code, BODYLOVE20, off tonight. So both of those things are popping off. So make sure to stay till the end and ask questions. We have some of the most brilliant thought leaders in this space here to talk you through this. So we're very happy to be here. So to start it off, there's a difference, I think, between body positivity and body acceptance. I think we hear those two buzzwords pop around a lot. What does that mean to everybody? What are the differences between those two concepts?
This is a really interesting topic. Jen May and I from Lovers discussed this a few weeks ago on the Yandy show, and how these two terms also kind of assign good and bad to this discussion, right? We talk a lot about sometimes like toxic positivity even, and I think that body positivity also can even give a sense of like laying blame. If you're not always really thrilled with your body, you don't always have to be in love with everything that's going on with your body. Your body is your body. It is what it is. Like, I've got crow's feet. And if I want Botox, cool. But I think that body acceptance is more of that natural sense of just ownership, and it's okay. And some days I might not be happy or sad about my body. Maybe I can just get to a place where I'm not consumed by thinking about my body. So I think it's a really important discussion, even laying the foundation of talking about the difference between positivity and acceptance or neutrality.
I think that's really awesome. I second, like, I also feel similarly about how I would define body acceptance. I think it's really about accepting your body and as an extension of that, then like expressing gratitude for your body in a way. And I had a really different definition or understanding of, I think, what body positivity is. And that's why I really loved what you just said, because it challenges a lot of kind of how I've been thinking.
Mhm.
So I always kind of assumed that body positivity was more of like a social movement. And that the goal of that social movement was to create an environment that facilitated body acceptance and to challenge kind of the media and the things and the stigmas that we see in the process is the way that I've always kind of thought of it.
I like the idea of body acceptance as opposed to, say, body love, because I think body love is too large a leap to go from, being dissatisfied with our bodies to I love my body. And I think what body acceptance does is it allows your humanity to be with you on the journey of accepting your body, so that there's no judgment, there's no rule that you have to do something, you can't get from A to Z without going through the alphabet. And I kind of think of body acceptance as being the alphabet in between, because you may never get to body love. I mean, I won't get to body love for me, I know. So living in body acceptance and making it a process, I think, is a much more humane way to go about accepting yourself.
Interesting. It just popped up. Is it self-love and self-acceptance? Do you think they're kind of similar in that regard too?
I think it's self-love and self-acceptance. I think it's the same as, for me, body love and body acceptance. I think when you put the word love next to something that has to do with a person, you're asking them to do that. So if you're asking someone to love themselves, good luck. If you're asking someone to accept themselves, that's much easier to grok. It's much easier to reach for that and give you some sort of relief. I think relief is what I reach for on a daily basis with my body.
I love that. Would anyone be willing to share a time or an experience when you were struggling to accept your own body or grappling with your relation to yourself in that way?
Yeah, I can do this one. I kind of really confronted my own body issues the moment I came out of the closet. So when I came out, it was very, in case you don't know, the gay male community is very, it's very looks driven, sexuality driven, body driven. Six packs are like the norm. So I didn't have abs. I never will have abs. So that was something I kind of like, okay, so I'm not going to be this echelon of gay because like not everybody's going to want me. So when I came out of the closet, I lost 20 pounds in a month because I was what they say, gay, fat, straight, skinny. That's like a regular phrase because the standards are so much apparently higher. So I felt, I was like, well, I can't be gay fat. Like I just can't. So I was starting to work out a lot. And at night I would make myself throw up every now and then just to like skip a meal. But eventually what I found out was these types of gays or the stigma in the community is just the surface level. And that's what people just generally see. But if you dig and you discover and you meet other people, you realize most of us aren't that way. It's just, we're not the ones that have hundreds of thousands of likes on social media because we're posting those images. So I eventually found my crew, my chosen family, and they complimented me nonstop. And it was like, oh, okay, I'm good the way I am. Like, I just need to realize that I don't need to shoot for something that's unattainable. I can be happy just the way I am. Like, even on the apps, there's like Grindr and stuff. There are people who will say like no fats, no femmes, be active, or I work out, you should too, or like don't talk to me if you don't have A, B, and C. So it's just like it's a lot to go through. And just I did end up being really happy with myself. I would argue I'm the most happy with my body that I've ever been currently. So
thank you so much for sharing that, Bobby. And I'm sure so
Yeah.
many people can relate to that.
Yeah, I like my weight is so interesting because it fluctuates up and down. And I always like when I think about body acceptance is like I have to accept my body whether I'm 220 pounds or I'm 165 pounds. Like for whatever reason, my body just kind of goes up and down, ebbs and flows. And for me, the most frustrating thing is around clothing, and just sort of like, how do I navigate when I'm, up and down? But for, thinking about like accepting myself, one of the ways that I really try hard, especially when I'm struggling, is taking naked pictures of myself in like really fun, sexy positions. It's sort of like, this is the way to put a smile on my face. Cause we all want to try to improve some way, shape or another, something about ourselves. It feels like it's a nonstop journey. So I feel like we always, there's something that we should remember to do to help ourselves just say like, hey, this is me in the now, right now. And I know for me, I just had a baby. So it's like, I'm experiencing my body in a whole different way than I have before. So it's sort of like, we just gotta keep reminding ourselves, what that looks like to, sexy comes in all sizes. So
Own your
whatever
sexy,
size it is,
girl.
yeah, whatever size it is at the moment, just figure it out, take that picture and keep it moving,
And also I've seen a lot, we've been in this pandemic, we're still in the pandemic, and just coming from our homes into a more open society. What is anyone experiencing any feelings around that? We're in summer and it's open. So that's a lot too, I think, on people. I don't know
I went to like a nude beach once, like a few weeks ago, and I was the only person of my group of friends who was fully clothed, had my shirt on, everything. And they were like, "What are you doing?" And I was just like, "I'm not ready yet." Like I've been so secluded. I need time again I need time to talk to people in person again. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna need a little more time to feel okay taking my shirt off in front of other people, because I was that kid who always wanted to keep his shirt on, not because I sunburn easily, I'm a redhead, but because of also the body issues I was having as a kid.
Well, and don't you feel, I don't know about you, but I gained weight during the pandemic. The first part, I was like, Talenti mint chocolate chip gelato is my friend, eating my feelings. So gained weight, lost weight, and yet the whole time I'm seeing stuff about, if you don't come out of this thing with a 6-pack, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, I'm barely getting by. So there is this sense of, what did you do with your time at home? And, weren't you taking walks every morning and whatnot? Now, maybe some of that's self-imposed too. So you see it online, you interpret it and internalize that as, as fact, as the Bible, this is what you've got to do. But I think there's a lot of pressure there for some of us coming back out into the world. And Bobby, just as you said, like, I'm just trying to figure out how to talk to people, how to remember how to order at a restaurant. And I'm also, unfortunately, slipping back into some of the old habits I used to have. I was at a business dinner last night and someone said, "Oh, those appetizers, there were so many. I'm so full. I don't think we need dinner." And I was hungry still. And I thought, nope. I fell right back into my like fat girl Alicia. I'm not eating unless somebody orders. And the person sitting next to me was like, order. And I was like, no, I'm not I'm not going to do it. Fortunately, someone else ordered, and then I was like, okay, I'll eat dinner. But I slipped right back into it after a year and a half of not being at a restaurant and not having to worry about who was watching me eat. And then me making an assumption that they were judging me, saying she shouldn't be eating. You know, look at her chin, look at this, look at that. So I'm not enjoying reliving those feelings. I'm also not enjoying the self-inflicted guilt of, you're a grown woman, shouldn't you have processed these feelings by now? But I think another part of that, and I'll wrap up, but is that your experience with everything changes. So you may think you've unpacked something, I've processed it, and then you change and you go through something like what we just went through, and all of your tools and your coping mechanisms have to change as well. And so I had that moment of clarity last night. I was negative self-talk right back in it. So
I think like the coolest part about that story though is you stopped yourself in your track. Like you're teaching your brain and relearning in this moment. You already know how to do this. You've already learned how to stop that negative self-talk. And you're just starting to have moments where it's popping up again and you need to identify it and stop it in its tracks. I think a lot of people are feeling that way about just going out in general with COVID, right? So it makes sense that we would start to have to maybe get a refresher course on some of the things that we used to do and some of the skills that we used to, use in order to navigate these types of things. So I think that's a positive story at like the end of the day. You know, you glean something really positive out of this that you can continue to work on.
yeah, I'm a Pollyanna in that way, silver lining on anything. But you're right. If you recognize it, you can make the change. Whereas before I didn't.
The first step.
And that was the beauty of the pandemic in that way. Not that I'm happy about the pandemic, but I had that time for self-reflection. And then when it came back, I was like, I haven't felt that in a long time. What? Hold up. So that moment of maybe not self-realization, but just hold up. And I think we can all do that, you know? And I say this to women and men who are, I can't wear that lingerie. I can't pull that off. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Get out of your own way.
It also helps. I love that too. I think it helps to think about what would you say to your friend if your friend was at the restaurant and you shared that story. What would you say to her or them? And I think the time that you took almost like away from it, when you got back into it, you were much more aware.
Yes.
Like, oh my God, I do that. That's still here. And I'm sure we all have our shadows. And I saw somebody in the chat say it, and it's so true. We all need to work through it, but it's a process that is a lifelong process. And I think that's part of the whole neutrality of it. We don't even need feelings towards it. It just, it's here. We don't have to have a judgment or a feeling. We're just sitting with it. So out of curiosity, how does this connection to our body or discomfort with how we look affect ourselves in sexual situations? Has anyone experienced that at all?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I'm like, I have something for this.
We're all like, we're jumping in.
I'm sorry, like as like somebody that works in the sex industry, I can tell you right now that if you're not confident about the way that you look, I used to be that person. So you're closing your legs up, you're closing your body physically. And that is cutting you off from experiencing sensations and being able to allow yourself the time to focus on what matters, which is the partner and the experience and the feeling, right? So 110%, that is my answer. Elle, please continue.
I got into sex education really because I was in a bad marriage, not having sex, and was the heaviest I ever was, and left my marriage and started dating. And I was so consumed with the idea of having good sex that the idea of my body not being where I want it to be took a back seat. And that was what got me through dating and being more, not even confident in my body, but my body was sort of secondary to the experience, if that makes sense. But I think one of the things that really helped me get to be more confident in my body to be sexual with somebody is masturbation. And when we think masturbation, we think, a vibrator or our fingers or, a dildo or whatever. But what I'm talking about is really like spending a half an hour with yourself, with your fingers, naked, and just starting with feeling your body, feeling the topography of your body, and the getting all your senses in there, and feeling how soft your skin is, or how rough it is over here, or even feeling your cellulite. Just really sort of getting to know your body and touching yourself in places that people don't really ever touch, your inner thighs, your outer thighs, your stomach. And then from there, going and seeing what pleases you. You might find like, oh, the inside of my wrists are an erogenous zone. Who knew? I never would have known that. You start to understand what makes you aroused, what turns you on. And when you go into a situation, I've found where you already know what pleases you, and you already know what your body is and the space it takes up and how you feel and what you can do with it and how strong you are and all those good things. Leading from there in a sexual situation where you might be a little, sheepish, is really, I think, powerful.
I love that. Thank you.
And also, it's so funny. I'm wondering what everyone else's thoughts on this is. But when I think body too, I think body parts. I think how I look down there. Like, am I normal? And I know Rain and I have spoken a lot about this actually, because it's not just about how your stomach looks or how your butt looks from behind. It's like, what is it like when someone's going down on me? And that's where I get insecure and in my head. I don't know if anyone has experienced that at all.
Are you thinking about like what your vulva looks like or what your body looks like from down there?
So I had a personal experience where a woman told me I had a weird vagina. And that was like 10 years ago. And she recently became a lesbian. And I was like, oh my God, she's seeing a lot of vaginas all the time. Maybe my vagina is weird. And still to this day, despite being with many people since then who have not had any issue with it, that has stuck with me. So that's something that I've worked through a lot.
Yeah.
And when people say things about our bodies that we don't even think about, like that can really set you on the off path.
Yeah.
And so even though it's like you're trying to bring it back, or that nobody has said anything about it since, but have people said something positive about it? You know what I mean? So were they like, Missy, oh my God, your pussy is the best pussy I've ever seen. Or, like more of those. Sometimes we need more of those things to sort of counteract like that hurtful thing that we've had in the past. But yeah, when I teach around, vulvas and vaginas, and, I'm like, hey, this is what it could look like. It could be this big, it could be this tiny, whatever it is, it could be all in the middle. There's all sorts of shapes, sizes, all of these different things. Is because sometimes I think because people are teaching themselves through pornography of what a vagina or a vulva looks like, then that can be the impetus of being like, oh, well, I need to change something or do something, or I'm weird or whatever. And so getting that education out there, I think, is just super important, that we are all different and beautiful. And these are the ways that we're all different and beautiful. And isn't that exciting? Don't you want to see more? I don't know, kind of thing.
Also,
to that point, talking about, even hearing someone else talk about it, and being mindful of our words and actions. I remember hearing boys talk about certain boobs I don't know, I think it was in high school or whatever. And I thought, oh, wait, is there something wrong with me? Or other girls talking about things and, are you shaving this? Or do you look like this? When you hear or are exposed to those negative conversations as well, and you realize, I didn't even know that was the thing. Wait, I'm supposed to shave off the peach fuzz on my face? I didn't even know there was a name for that. Uh-oh. So sometimes just the exposure to those conversations then plays into that, track in your mind that starts going, is there something wrong with me? And being able to pull yourself out of that is very hard, especially when you're young, right? And you're forming your opinions of your own body. But it's just amazing what people will comment on, frankly. I don't know, Georgia O'Keeffe, like, how many different flowers did she paint? Like, I mean, it's beautiful because it's different. And once we celebrate and talk about the beauty and the differences, and we change that conversation, that's where some of the growth will happen. We have a lot of work to do.
Yeah. Oh, it's just like everybody here has a different shaped nose. It works with our face. It all works. Our noses work. And your nose isn't any worse or better than mine. And I think when people also say, like I used to get teased, Elle is a big nose, in grammar school. It tells you a lot more about the other person who is commenting on you, what their aesthetic is, and the issues they may have with their own body.
That is so true. Like, you nailed it there.
I'm hearing like a lot of us are talking about, the negative things that we hear people say to us that come out of left field. And one of the things that I started to think about as we were all talking about this is one of the best things that we can do to kind of combat some of this stigma and to be that body ally is to be vocal about it. I think that oftentimes, like, that girl that's on the street and she stops you and she says, like, your outfit is freaking amazing and it makes you feel so freaking good. Most of the time we're having those thoughts and we just keep them to ourselves. We do not tell that person on the street, wow, you look really beautiful. Like, we don't tell people those things like we're noticing. We keep it to ourselves. And the reality is, if we want people to celebrate themselves and celebrate their bodies, we have to demonstrate what that looks like to each other.
Yes.
And so that, I think, would be like a really cool thing that we could all try and do to progress this a little bit. Yes, girl always feels better when it comes from a stranger than it does from yourself, right? So
No, and to that point, I feel like something I recently learned was not to take criticism to heart as much, because I mean, that you can get 3 compliments and then one person will say something bad and you take that to heart, but then somebody compliments you and you don't believe them. You know what I mean? Like, that's where I was for the longest time. Somebody would be like, oh, you've got a great chest, or you've got this and that. And I'm like, oh, thank you. But then I'm like, well, they're just saying that. I don't know. I would think of anything in my head to be like, this is why they're saying that. But if somebody said something bad to me, I would believe them so much that I wouldn't stop thinking about it. So it's like, it's just weird how that kind of plays with it. But obviously, like, in time, you do learn to kind of, you hear something nice enough that you go, okay, it must be true. Like, I'm not deluding myself here.
Mm-hmm. Also learning to take a compliment in that you feel good, someone compliments you, and then we've also been taught, and I don't know if this, I was about to say as women, but I think it's probably genderless. We're taught to go, no, I'm not pretty. No, you want to, I'm humble. I'm not egotistical. I'm this, I'm that, whatever. Take that compliment, own it. It's okay. You're not a bad person for being like, thank you, I appreciate it. And celebrating it and allowing that mental game, right? We tell ourselves the worst things about ourselves. And you, Bobby, someone says something bad, then you say it back to yourself 30 more times. And we need to get better about saying the good things too.
And I think Marla was talking about earlier, just about representation. I think vulvas in porn, I think Marla said this. And there are so many beauty standards and stigmas we impose on ourselves as a result of what we see represented. What are some of those, like, unexpected ones that we maybe don't even know we're conditioned to believe, aside from your standard makeup and beauty?
That thin is beautiful, that white is beautiful, that if you have an athletic body and a big booty now, that's beautiful, big boobs. When I was growing up, you had to look like Kate Moss, be very, very skinny. I think that when we body shame anybody, whether they're skinny or not, whatever they have, it puts a negative connotation on the idea of what beauty is. And body shaming shouldn't be just reserved for the fat acceptance movement or anything like that. It should be anyone that has any sort of quality about their physical presence that they aren't secure with, or that might be looked at from society as not as good as. And by doing that, by being an ally to skinny people, or being an ally to, I don't know, and be an ally to fat folks. You're an ally to somebody to accept themselves. I think I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense, but I hope it does.
Absolutely makes sense.
Mm-hmm. It's those Western beauty standards too, I think. I mean, I am a cisgender, hetero, white woman, right? But in the last year, how much, I can't even count, how much have I learned about the beauty in natural hair, breaking down boundaries about and expectations about, you know, skin texture, skin color, hair, body shape, all these things that like we're conditioned to accept one thing. And you know, working at a lingerie company, right? Everybody assumes the Yandy model is this, and we're trying to break that down, right? It's like, no, you do you, like own your sexy. But you have to be able to have those conversations too and go, what am I really predisposed here to think is beauty? What equates to beauty? And then breaking that down and realizing there's not any one thing. The beauty comes from, you know, your confidence, all these other good things. And I'm sure we'll get to that. But I think we're still learning triggers for people and things that we never even thought about were criticized to one group of people or another, and realizing, holy, you know, there's a gamut of all of these things. It's just like the Peach Fuzz thing. You don't realize it until someone's like, oh, that's not okay. So, I mean, it's countless, the number of things that are just the most random things that you wouldn't think someone would shame or criticize. I come across it on a daily basis, and it makes me feel old. I'm still shocked by it.
And the thing is, it's a battle that you cannot win, because like Elle said, like trends change. We had our Marilyn Monroe moment, we had our Kate Moss moment, now we have our Kim Kardashian moment. This system is rigged to make sure that you do not succeed. Like you could look at any feature on your body, hair color, weight, body hair, vulva shape, penis size, height, all of these things. There's a standard in every culture for what is most acceptable, right? And so I think that's important to know that that is the case, so that we don't take this as personally, you know, or look at it on such a granular level like that. It will change, it will shift again.
Well, it's also, you know, always look at media critically, right? So when you are seeing, you know, Angelina Jolie or, you know, Marie Osmond on the Nutrisystem ads or whatever, ask yourself, what am I being sold here? What does someone want me to buy something? Do they want my money? Because the diet industry is a $60 billion a year company industry. And so what would happen to that industry if we didn't feel shame about our bodies? And if their diets actually, you know, they don't work, you know? So they keep us in this hamster wheel of always wanting to lose that last 10 pounds. And so that really has a lot to do with beauty standards, because they create them. The media and the social construct that the media feeds into really does create that standard. And it's something that we can change if we demand it. So.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting because, you know, as a, you know, cis Black queer woman, it's sort of when I see, you know, clothing, and I want to find, you know, lingerie, or I want to find something, it's always like very full figured women, right? It's like, big boobs and a big waist. And I'm looking, it was just today, I was looking at an ad and I was like, I don't know who has that body, but my body does not look like that. I'm kind of my body does not have that many curves. Where are like the small tittied fat girls? Like what's going on in this world? Like where can I see myself so I can buy something that I think that would look good on my body? And then like what Ashley was saying in the chat, like, yeah, like you think you're like, okay, well, my boobs aren't going to look like that. How are my boobs going to look in this, shirt or in this blouse or in this lingerie? Am I going to get that same wow that this model is getting? And I feel like there's just a ton of pressure, particularly for women of color who have been in history, who have been gawked at because of the body, because of our body shape, so. But even thinking about, of course, everybody has, different kinds of bodies. So it's just fascinating to think about what kinds of bodies we're seeing and what they're selling us, like Elle was saying. And then also, and then like props to like people like Fenty, Rihanna's line, who has all sorts of different kinds of bodies. Still the big titty, big girls, but it's still sort of a step where you can actually see, okay, this is this is what it looks like on a small, this is what it looks like on a medium, this is what it looks like on a large person, this is extra large. And I think that can help really, I think that's sort of setting a really good standard on how to market to anybody, because like I said, we're all different, and we need to see what would work with us and our bodies.
Yeah.
And also the reinforcement. I know people who struggled with an eating disorder and were really thin, and they constantly were told how good they look because that was what is acceptable, being thin like that. So I think also being mindful of how we communicate with people. Mm-hmm. And I struggle with that. I even people that are pregnant, you're not, oh my God, you're so big. That's harmful. So I think finding that delicate balance between, being complimentary, but also not potentially feeding into something problematic for them. Mm-hmm. I don't know if anyone has anything to say on that.
Well, I had an experience recently where on the app, someone was like, oh, you're just my type. And I was like, oh, really? What's that? And they said, a skinny white boy. And I went, I'm skinny, like that triggered me to say I was skinny, because I was like, well, because I grew up very skinny and I would tease for it. So then it became, oh, I'm skinny, I work out, da, da, da. So like it hit me all of that, because, being called fat and skinny can be equally affecting, it can hurt people's feelings and whatnot. So it was just like, that's something that recently happened to me, that I was like, I stopped talking to the person because I was like, I can't deal.
There's a way to compliment people in a way that is not harmful. And I think we need to be mindful of that. There are studies that talk about complimenting young girls on being pretty versus complimenting them on being smart. How are we conditioning them? Talking to, I'm a mom, talking to kids about, are you proud of yourself? I'm so proud of you. There are ways that we can also adjust the language that we use to compliment one another and still produce the feeling of you are wonderful and beautiful and valued, without commenting on body size. Oh, you've lost so much weight. Instead of that, oh my God, you look so thin. It can be, gosh, you look stunning in that outfit. That's just stunning. I'm not commenting on your shape. I'm not, you know what I mean? So we need to really be mindful of the language that we use, even when we're complimenting someone, because that compliment then sets an expectation. My mother, I love her, used to say in high school, oh my gosh, you look so beautiful in the musical. You're so thin. You look so thin in that. And the next year, when I wasn't thin, I felt bad because I wasn't attaining that level anymore. I didn't want to just wear a leotard. I wanted to be in something that covered my body. She wasn't shaming me. She was trying to shower love on me as my mother, and in loving way. But the words in which we use carry so much weight, even when we compliment one another and in setting that expectation. And I think that those of us who are aware and participating in this conversation, if we can train ourselves to change our vocabulary a little, we can, I think, you know, we were talking about mirroring that to others. Let's also teach others how to still compliment while using non-triggering language.
I think having that poker face helps too. You know, I remember a friend of mine going like, I lost 20 pounds. And I, just because I've worked in public health stuff, I had my just straight face. And I'm like, is that a good thing for you or is that a bad thing for you? You know, and, you know, she was like, oh, it's a good thing. And I'm like, good stuff. Awesome. Way to go. You know, because I think, you know, sometimes that might be a bad thing for someone who might be going through something, you know, maybe sad, depression, you know, so it's sort of like you really need to be aware. And I think that's when sort of the poker face really kind of helps.
Now that we've said all this, what does beauty mean to you? What is the definition of beauty then? How would you define it?
I had like such a hard time with this question. We were talking about this before we started the workshop. Is, you know, I helped write some of the questions for tonight's class, and then I looked over them and I realized I don't know if I totally have the answer to the questions that I'm posing. And I guess that's why I'm so curious about it. Because beauty is such a broad thing to define, and there's so many sayings like beauty within or beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And I think that we can apply that term beauty to too many things, try and contain it or to define it, at least for me. So I'm really curious what all of you guys have to say and how you guys define it. Maybe it can provide me some more clarity.
I don't define beauty for myself. I think for me at least, it's a fool's errand. Because I think one's personal tastes evolve and change throughout your life. What I thought was beauty 10 years ago is not what I think is beauty now. Mm-hmm. I think if we looked at beauty that way as something that can evolve and can actually change from moment to moment, you know, I think that would be a much more healthy way of looking at what is beautiful. If you look up beauty in like the dictionary and look up all of the words that go along with that, it's very interesting to see how much of it is focused on being attractive or desirable or not ugly, like the antonyms are ugly. So when you look at something like that, it's very easy to judge yourself and judge others. But really looking at what beauty means to you and what desire means to you, being desirable or finding someone desirable, and how it's changed throughout your life can be a really good exercise to have, I think.
For me, it's that glow. It kind of, you know, Rain, you were talking about when you see someone on the street, you're like, you're so pretty. I'm always that girl. Like my husband, I drive him crazy. I'm in an elevator and I'm like, oh my God, I love blah, blah, blah. But when I say that to someone, it's not necessarily that it's not the hair or the makeup or the whatever. And I'm not talking about highlighter. I'm talking about like that glow of like, yeah, you're just stunning. And I say it to people of all, like I say it to a lot of people. It's not any one thing for me. It's that joyful spirit beauty that I can tell they love that skirt. And that for me is like, that's beautiful. And then I want to say it to them. So I know that's very pie in the sky, but it's that I can tell someone's feeling themselves, or even if they're not, I'm like, that is an awesome skirt. And I'm going to say it. That's very vague, but it sort of is. It's that intangible beauty that you exude and what attracts people. To me, that's how I would define it.
Marla, I love what you wrote. Can you elaborate?
Sure. I just said it's sort of like when Alicia was speaking, I was just like, it's like the aura or the essence of someone. Like it's the energy that you feel that the where the beauty comes off of. So it's just kind of a, yeah, it's that energy, it's the glow, but it's confidence, I think, too. You know, when people are like, I look good, and you're like, yeah, you do look good. You know, it's all in there. So yeah.
And I think reading these comments, it's kind of evident that you can't really define beauty because it's different to all of us. So what one person finds beautiful, someone else may not. And I think like that's why beauty is in the eye of the beholder is such a popular term, because it is certainly the truth. Like I found that I know I'm going to speak about coming out a lot, but that is where I discovered a lot about my body and how it is perceived by others. And whereas I might not be considered, we have a bunch of, in the gay community, we have tribes. So there's bears, there's twinks, there's all of these different groups that you can identify under. And every group has an admirer. So there are, there's chubby chasers, there's men who love bears who are big and hairy, there's men who love twinks who are skinny and hairless. It's just like there is somebody for everybody, and everybody finds something different beautiful. And I think that is beautiful. So maybe that's what beauty is. So
Every pot has a cover.
exactly. Yeah.
And that's my mom's favorite saying, by the way. There's a kettle for every pot, or whatever it
Kettle
is.
for every pot.
Yeah, everything. Yeah, for me, honestly, when someone's just kind, like there have been so many men that I've like been on a date with, and I walk in and you just know, like they could be the most gorgeous person, but they open their mouth and they're just not a good person. And it just takes it away from me. I'm so much more about Marla, what you said exactly, like the aura, like you feel their energy and you know they're kind, like a kind soul. Like Bobby has kind eyes. Like when I first met Bobby, I'm like, oh, he's kind, like the kindest eyes. And I immediately loved him. I mean, all of you do, but Bobby in particular, because I met him first, I think. But no, but I don't know. That's for me, like that's how I
Totally.
beauty, just like who they are internally, honestly, as reverse as that may seem.
I think too, going off what Marla said, which I think is so true, but also like I'm online dating right now, which is its own, 3-hour class.
Right, that's a whole other workshop.
Oh, please don't even get me started. But I know that when I'm swiping, the first thing I'm looking for is an openness. It's not even a look, like a good look. It doesn't matter how old they are. It doesn't matter. There is this relaxation of being open and okay with yourself that I'm immediately attracted to. And, that, and if they're holding a cute dog. So that'll always get me stopped.
How do we dismantle then these beauty standards? What are the practices to separating ourselves from everything that we're seeing on a daily basis?
Representation.
Absolutely.
For this panel, it's doing the job, doing the work to get representation implemented. And as consumers, humans, people, demanding that we see it elsewhere.
And that requires media literacy.
Yeah.
Looking at media critically.
Yes.
Questioning everything you see because it's everywhere. Just turn to the right and there's a billboard. Turn to the left and there's, a beer wrapper. Are there wrappers on beer anymore? But you know what I mean? So it's like really looking at that and then the representation. I think what Marla was talking about too earlier about not having the body that fits into what's being modeled. I think when selling clothes, for one thing, it's getting all different sizes. Ashley Graham is beautiful and she's bigger than most models, but she's Ashley Graham and she's a professional model. I want to see the Gabourey Sidibe's. I want people to be able to see themselves in whatever is being sold, so that they can see, oh, look, just like me. You know what I mean? and how will that look on me, and how will I feel in that? Yeah, now I'll go off in a tangent, so I should just shut up.
I am really like curious though, because I feel like we've circled back on this like discussion of what marketing and like what companies can do to help to dismantle some of the stigma, as they have such a large role in it, right? And I think that one of the things that Levers is really proud of is that we have such a really incredible selection of models. We source from our Instagram, so these are very like real people that connect with our brand. And I think that's one step that I've seen a lot of companies doing, is to try and incorporate, you know, a little bit more diversity amongst their lifestyle imagery. But what else do you think like companies could be doing to kind of progress this message?
For me, Yandy and beyond, but you know, I mean, I think about this a lot, right? And I was just having this conversation today. It's not about shaming one versus the other. We have a consumer that clearly responds to a lot of things on our site that are someone's ideal, with a large breast, skinny waist, you know, ample bum. I don't know how far I curse like a sailor in real life, and I work at Yandy. You know, it's not about saying that's not okay and this other one is okay. When I talk about representation and really, you know, and I want the budgets, I want all of the stuff to do this, it's showing the gamut, you know, and I think it's being able to say, here's a small, here's a medium, here's small boobs, big boobs, whatever, and truly being able to represent all of it. Or can we in some way, you know, maybe not every single product, but how can we at our jobs figure out how to implement those things? And also hiring creatives and staff members who are going to show up and know how to dress and style those bodies appropriately, and not try and cram every body in the same exact style. Being understanding of, you know, how do we as marketers make recommendations for certain body types and say, this is going to feel really good on you because of XYZ, or, you know, and then how we show that, right? Making sure that our hair and makeup artists know how to work with people and have the wide range of skills to not make everybody look exactly the same. So it's on us to do the work in our companies. And if you don't know, get informed. I think so many times I had this conversation last year, we were talking about Black Lives Matter. And I think for so long it's been, I didn't know how to do it right, so I didn't do anything. And that time of that being an okay answer has passed. It is now, okay, you didn't know how to do it right, get informed and do it right. Like, make the acknowledgement and say, we have work to do, and then go about making those changes. It's not possible to do it overnight. You know, we're businesses, there's budgets, there's staffing, there's whatever, but it is possible to say, we acknowledge it, we recognize it, we're setting a goal to fix it.
I also think we're in an interesting time right now, because a lot of individuals are more influential than businesses these days. So if you get enough influential individuals who look a certain way or present a certain way, that they can turn the tide on beauty standards. And when there's enough of us and we're loud enough, then media can't help but listen, because we're here, we're the ones who are calling the shots now, we've taken the power. So I feel like that's really what's happening right now, and I think that's wonderful.
And I saw Ashley, Ashley and Christine in the comments were talking about Photoshop and filters. I think that is a huge thing. Even on Instagram, I think people are on tremendous filters and it doesn't look real. And you see them in real life, it's like, you're perfect. Like, why are you doing this like distorted version of yourself with the, what is it? The app Facetune.
Just the fact that we know this and we can look at a picture of a pretty person and just go, I can see where this was photoshopped. Yeah. I mean, that's a huge step. We didn't do that years ago, you know. I think that's when media literacy has really taken hold, is now we just look and like, oh, where is that Photoshop? You know, because we all do it to a certain extent, but it's important to sort of think about that, like, interesting, you know?
Yeah, actually, I recently read an article where there's a country where they're testing something that if you've retouched your photo in any way, it's going to be stated on the image, like sponsored ad type thing. It's going to say like, this has been retouched. I think that's brilliant, but
I'm like curious what the purpose of that is for.
For exactly the unrealistic standards for people, because mental health, yeah.
The UK is really good about, I love their ads where it's like a mascara ad, and then it's like, these are false lashes. Like, good job, totally gonna buy that. I think this is gonna sound self-serving. I work for a company, I sell stuff. However, I really believe you vote with your dollar. And when I say that, I mean, if you're out there and you're preaching support women-owned businesses, Black-owned businesses, representation, you got to vote with your dollar. You got to go shop at those places and support them, because the worst thing to happen is then when you get feedback that's, oh, you wanted to go after that demo, it didn't sell. Well, there's maybe multiple reasons for that. You know, some of it's internal, some of it's not. But if we believe in these things as consumers, we have to follow it up by supporting those businesses with our money and keeping them in business to keep doing that good work.
Great.
Yes. Yeah. So what are some of the ways you all are practicing body neutrality and acceptance? Any tips for our friends that are with us tonight?
Well, Marla, or maybe it was Elle, maybe it's all of us. Somebody mentioned earlier, like taking sexy photos. And this is like something, I've been practicing this for a long time. And one of the things I really love about it is I just love photography in general, because I think like the goal of photography is to capture something that's beautiful. And so by making yourself the subject, it is like a radical act of self-love and of mindfulness. You are forcing yourself to find something beautiful, and not just one thing that's beautiful, but these are moments captured in time. So like multiple versions of yourself that is beautiful, right? So that's one thing that I do all the time to practice self-care. If I'm posting a picture on Instagram, you can rest assured that I've been not feeling very body positive and that I had done something about it. I also think as I'm getting older, and I am getting into my 30s now, really being naked more. To be honest, my body is changing, and I want to be able to not have to look down and not recognize myself. I want to relish the things that I find beautiful in this moment, and then continue to find more beautiful things as my body changes.
I think another great idea is to log off of social media sometimes, give yourself a break. Like, I take 48 hours every month to just get away, and I feel 10 times better when I get back. So I would recommend getting off of social media. Also on that kind of same page, unfollowing people who don't make you feel good about yourself.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
people that I have to go through like a monthly dump just to get rid of people, because I'm like, you rarely make me feel good. You don't. So, and then conversely, following people who do the opposite, body positive people, or even just things that don't have to do with bodies at all, like a pug account. I find that following animals is fun. Like, you know, it doesn't get me feeling sad or anything like that. I actually recently wrote about how gay men in particular make themselves feel better about their bodies. And someone said that they really like to treat their fat body like a supermodel to make them feel like a model. So they'll wear clothes to make them feel sexy. They'll take those pictures to make them feel sexy. Another person said that for every negative thought they have about themselves, they'll say 2 things they love about their body just to counteract it. What else does someone say? Oh, wear your swimsuit around your house and walk around naked, similar to what Rain said, just to normalize your body to
7 o'clock.
My computer has to tell me what time it is on the hour every hour, because I will work until 1 a.m. I'm so sorry. And in a British voice, because that's sexy to me.
Yes. I love that, Bobby. Thank you. What else? What about you, Marla?
You know, I really enjoy positive affirmations. I think positive affirmations, they have helped me in all sorts of realms, including my body acceptance. And you know, I I have these shower notes. I don't know if anybody else has these things, but they're, you know, they're the thing you stick in the shower. They're waterproof notes, you know, so you just like scribble stuff on. So it's just like, you know, writing things down, sticking them in the shower, and that way I'm just constantly reminding myself, saying them out loud, and making sure that like I don't fall into the circus of the media or other things telling me that my body is not the norm or whatever. So the positive affirmations, I think, have really helped a lot for me.
I think for me, it was, you know, I grew up and my mother said, never tuck anything into your pants because it's not attractive, you know, because I have a big butt and a big stomach. And so she's like, no, 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 you know, you don't do that. But she always complimented my nail beds. So I think about what are the things that I like about myself. I like my nail beds, you know, maybe that was, you know, some sort of, you know, thing that she gave me as I was growing up. So I think about that, and I think about, you know, I can feel disgusting about the rest of me, but God damn it, motherfucker, I love my nail beds.
Especially when you're flipping someone off.
I've always got my nail beds, you know? There's got to be something. There's got to be something somewhere. And then I would also like to say taking nude pictures with a good photographer did wonders for me at my heaviest. I think they're beautiful, and it really, really did a whole lot for my self-esteem at the time.
On a similar note, I did something when I first came out and I wasn't fully comfortable with my body. They would have a local bar would have a jock strap party. So you would just wear a jock strap to this bar, and then like you'd just be in that and you'd walk around and everybody's in. So it really reminded me of, I don't know if anyone here watches Shrill, the TV show, but do you remember when she went to the pool party and she was uncomfortable to start with, and then she starts dancing to Ariana Grande with everybody else because she's super comfortable? It was very that moment for me. So when I saw that episode, I was like, wow, like putting yourself out there really does, it can pay off if that's comfortable doing so.
Yeah. I went to a swingers retreat with a boyfriend once, and I walked in and there are all these like really, you know, nubile bodies, much younger than mine. No one was fat like me. And I was with my partner and I'm like, I cannot take my clothes off here. I'm the only one that looks like me here. And then finally I said to myself, are you just going to sit and sulk wearing like jeans and a sweater or whatever? Or are you just going to throw caution to the wind and just go, you know what, this is what I look like. You know, this is what I look like today. And I have to say, it was so incredibly freeing just to take off my clothes and walk around. And it's just like, you know what, guys, we all look different and we all look great. And we're all here for the same thing, you know?
And it doesn't stop you from being attractive, you know?
No.
Like people are attracted to that confidence, you know?
Yeah, it didn't hinder my experience there at all. And I found that people were really, really excited to sort of talk to me because there was an idea of like, yeah, this is what I look like. You know, my boobs are flapping over here like this, and you know, my thighs are smacking together, and no one cared. They just wanted to, you know, get together with like-minded people and all of that. So
I don't know where I'm at in body neutrality, but I'll say it's a mental game for me. And I cut the size tags out of my clothes because, I mean, my degree is in costume design, right? So, and I used to work with ballet dancers, and they're so obsessed with being thin. And I was obsessed with not looking, I used to jokingly say like, well, I became a costume designer because I like eating cake. because I'll make fun of myself before you can make fun of me. Then I realized it was all about tailoring, and you get married and they say, oh, your wedding dress is really non-conforming style or sizes, and it's 3 sizes bigger, blah, blah, blah. I just cut the sizes out of everything. I'm not going to buy it again. I'm not going to buy that same exact item again. Why do I care what size it is? Does it fit? Does it feel good? When I try and force myself into a specific size versus buying what fits me, it never looks good. I always have a roll, which then I'm thinking about all day. And doing that is so freeing, and sometimes I started out doing it because I'll tell you, I didn't want my husband to see my lingerie on the floor after I took it off and go, it's this size. Oh my God. Like, he's blissfully happy. He doesn't care, but I didn't want him to know that. That's sad for me, I think. But at the same time, it also then I used that and I wielded it as a sword to be like, you know what? I'm going to turn this into something positive. I'm not going to look at these numbers. I'm going to cut them out. I'm not going to worry about it. Does it look good? Does it feel good? And so I'm not where you all are. I'm not ready to do a boudoir photo shoot. I want to create them and market them. But that's the mental game I play with myself. And I just don't even let myself go there.
And also every brand is sized differently.
Yeah.
So it could be a 12 in one and an 18 and it's so not linear, but we're trained to think that you have to fit within a certain size category or else you don't fit into the standard.
Yes. What is a double XL in real life?
Yeah.
How because you mentioned your husband, and I'm just throwing out to everyone else, how do you find that being in a relationship helps you in your connection to your body, or what do you feel about that? Does it impact you in any positive or negative way or neutral way?
I would love to talk about this because as I was listening to you, Alicia, I was kind of thinking, I was like, okay, so by cutting the tags out of your lingerie, you're creating a setting that is more, accepting and allows you to be more accepting of yourself, right? There's nothing wrong with that. I think that's a great move. But I've been thinking about that a lot lately because I've been in relationships pretty consistently for a long time. And it wasn't until recently that I really felt that I actually started to maybe enter that body acceptance phase. And I realized just how important it was on our journey to body positivity to who we surround ourselves with. Our setting is extremely, extremely important. I think that oftentimes we're always telling people you should self-care, you should feel good about yourself. But, in order for us to access that self-care and to be privileged to that self-care, we need to be in a setting that supports that journey. And I don't think I was ever in that setting until I met my most recent partner. And I still don't know if I'm there. I think I'm at that curiosity stage where I'm dipping my toe in and I'm kind of girls do gross things like fart, and I'm still kind of experimenting with it and getting cozy into this. But it was really valuable for me to finally be in a setting that validated me and made me not feel scared, I guess, about the what if. And it's so sad that I felt that way for so long, is that was the where my value was. If I lost this, I would become invisible. I would have nothing else to, offer. And that is not true. I was in a setting that told me that was what my value was. And that's what I had to offer. And so now that I'm with my current partner, I think I'm really starting to recognize just how important it is. Not just being in a relationship, but being in a relationship with somebody that's going to uplift you and is going to help you support, have that positive thinking.
Yeah, for me, I just had a baby at the end of April. So it's I have this stomach that I'm not used to having anymore. And it just kind of folds over. And it's something I've never experienced before. And for me, it really helps because I look in the mirror and I'm just kind of this thing is there. And I don't know how to manage this this stomach. I'm not used to it. And honestly, it really does help that my wife, she touches it. She's like, it feels really nice. I really enjoy it. It's fun to like touch and to be on. And it's getting ready for the next baby. So, think about like all the positive things. So I feel that extra set of eyes, and that encouragement really helps me to be like, okay, it's here, I have it, and she likes it, so I guess it's fine. So I think I always have to, it helps, I think, to have a partner who is reassuring you, for sure, in my opinion.
Yeah, and actually seeing yourself through your partner's eyes in an erotic way is really validating. Like, they don't even have to say anything necessarily, but watching them appreciate what is before them and appreciate the parts of your body, and also asking, can I touch here? Can I touch there? Or I really want to touch your stomach. I really, really want to touch your stomach. I want to feel it. I think those are all such great, loving, sexy ways to make your partner feel more comfortable in the moment too.
Cool. So we're almost nearing the end of the evening. I could talk about this for hours, and we might need to do a part 2. And also, just to remind everyone, there's a giveaway coming in hot really soon, $300. We're also doing a discount code BODYLOVE20. But over here, we love to do the rapid fire to end the conversation. So everyone's ready. We're just gonna do quick rapid fire to these questions. All right. What is your favorite part of your body?
Nail beds.
Nail beds.
My eyes.
Marla,
eyes.
I have like a weird thing where like my body looks really toned, but it's actually squishy. Like I have like a line that goes down my thigh, and like my arms look super buff, but like if you touch it, it's like, so
I want to hug you now.
I like that it's an illusion.
And also, as I'm asking the questions, I'm loving everyone responding in the chat. This is for everybody, so put your answers in there too. Bobby, what do you say?
Oh, I just said, yeah, I'm loving reading the comments. It's so nice to see people loving their bodies. So it's really nice.
Bobby, did you give your answer for your favorite body?
Because I'm struggling.
Yeah.
I have a hard time figuring that out. I was actually talking to my boyfriend before this, and I was like, what would you say is a part? And he was like, you're so hard on yourself. I don't know. He was like there's so like, I will, if I had to say, I would say my arms. I would say arms.
I'd say my ass. That's me. Okay. What is a part of your body you're learning to love?
I am learning to love my new happy relationship belly, and some of the lovely new wrinkles that are starting to appear on my face.
Elle?
I'm trying to learn to love my profile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bobby, I'm going in order.
Okay, I'm going to say my butt because I wish it were bigger. But also there was this recent social media thing that they used to do, and it was the barbell challenge. And they would roll a barbell over guys who were laying flat on their stomachs. And if their butts stopped the barbell, that would be like they passed the test. So, and like if you didn't do it, if your butt didn't hit the barbell, it was like everyone laughed at them. And I was like, my butt wouldn't hit the barbell. Like, it just wouldn't. So I would say that's something I'm learning right now.
Okay, Marla?
My boobs. They're functioning differently, and they're bigger, and they're, it's a whole different bra size. So I am, I'm learning to love my boobs.
Love that. Alicia?
My dimple, because when I smile in photos, it makes me feel like I have a weird 7 cheeks on the side. I always loved it. And then now I don't want to smile in photos anymore. I've developed this weird thing. So I'm trying to get back to loving my dimple.
I love your dimple. I noticed it when you came on.
It's a dimple discount. It used to work really good, but I'm old now.
I love your dimple. Yeah. Christine.
Apparently people in the chat love your dimple too.
What?
We're starting an Instagram for your dimple.
Oh my God.
Okay, I'll say I'm learning to love it's a toss up between my nose and my vulva. So depending on the day, one of those. Do you say vulva or vagina?
Vulva is the outside, vagina is the internal.
Yeah, 2 different things.
So like your lips?
Your lips, your clitoris, your external clitoris, everything on the outside is your vulva and inside is your vagina.
But isn't that funny that people just say vagina?
Well,
Yeah.
vulva, you know, is not as pretty a word on the written page as vagina.
I knew this, but for some reason I still say vagina. But
Yeah.
Yeah. Anywho.
Whatever
Part
works.
of the patriarchy.
Smash it.
All right, 2 more. What is the most attractive feature on a partner's body for you and why?
Oh, easy.
For me, it is, I'm not a body person. I'm 100% a face person because I love conversation. And so like what I am looking at is probably like smile, jawline, those things, like expression is, I find very attractive. So
Yeah,
face, this whole area.
the face. What about
I'm
you?
eyes and smile, but I have this weird attraction to right here on guys when it's like, I haven't muscles,
Like
doesn't
veiny?
matter. But like when a guy has like sleeves rolled up and then it's like just a little too tight right here to the point where like I randomly, I don't know, told my husband this when we were dating. And then when we moved to Chicago together, I found those little squeezy things. And I was like, I never see you use these. It's like, you just randomly told me one time that like you like that one muscle. And I was, but he's a drummer, so it's easy because, you know, he already had it.
What about you?
I
Elle?
really enjoy my wife's arms. She has really nice muscular arms.
Love that.
I used to be a hand woman, but I have turned into an arm and shoulder woman, which you can see on my stories and my Instagram now because I have a 14-year-old crush on Chris Evans, Captain America. He's the future Mr. Elle Chase.
Good pick.
Yes.
Bobby, what about you?
So my boyfriend, he's very, he's a big guy. He's got big arms, big chest, everything. But my favorite part of him is his belly. So it's funny because something I would hate, like I hate about myself is something I look for in a partner and I find attractive in a partner. So I always found that interesting is that like, I hate it on myself because I have one, but I love it in a sexual partner. So it's just funny.
Isn't it amazing what we love in other people?
No, yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
I'd say for me, hands, like just nice hands or lips, but also
Ooh, yeah.
independent, I think, right? I think for each person, there's like a quirk or like even an unexpected thing that you're super attracted to. That's my more generalized perspective. Okay, last question. What outfit makes you feel the most powerful, sexy / good about yourself?
Okay, my outfit has not changed since I was like 13. I don't know why it's still this outfit, but it's just jeans, a leather jacket, and heeled boots. I just feel like it's the substitute jacket for like any television show. Like she's a vampire hunter, she's a witch, like she's a supermodel. And like so like anybody I want to embody is wearing that outfit. So that's like my power outfit.
Elle?
I have a Lycra long sleeve mock turtleneck dress, super tight, it's black. And I wear tights with it and some big, gorgeous boots, and I just feel smoking in it. Regardless of my weight, I feel fantastic in that dress.
Love it. Bobby?
This is a weird answer again, but I would say I feel sexiest when I'm in sweats because I'm comfortable. I'm, if they're matching, you're really working it. But it's just, when I'm at my most comfortable, I'm a cozy guy, so I like to cuddle. That's where I feel my sexiest for sure.
What about you, Marla?
Anything that can show my tattoo and my boobs, I'm probably a big fan of. So, but I do have like this lace dress. I have it in like 3 different colors. They're like long sleeve dresses. I have like a low cut, like lingerie. I think those are like my favorite.
Alicia?
I have a pair of vinyl pants, vinyl, I don't know, faux leather, whatever. I love them because they're so not me, with like a really loose top and like a blazer or something. I'm all about that like businesswoman special, like power posing. So, and honestly, I actually feel sexiest in like a prepster look, even though it's not traditionally viewed as sexy. That's where I feel like I'm just bringing out my inner like Blair or Charlotte or whatever, like, nerdy, sexy. That's my thing. So little Peter Pan collar action. It's hot.
And I'm loving the versatility in the comments. Like we have a ball gown, we have a tank top, a wrap dress and heels. For me, honestly, it's like a workout outfit, oddly. Like shorts, like high-waisted shorts and a tank top. Because it's like my body can do things. I feel it empowers me.
Your body is strong.
Yeah.
I almost said my pole dancing outfit. I was like, that's pretty close. But I was like, I'm going to go with the lace dress.
I feel like we need to have like a party where we all wear like our power outfit. Yeah.
We should all post them to Instagram, like take pictures and then do like a hashtag like power outfit or something. I don't know. Tag Lover.
The July, well, it's like 2 more days left of July, but we should do this for August. Well, that's the show, everybody. We have a giveaway announcement. Drum roll, everybody. Winner of our $300 of incredible things from Lovers is Ashley Worthy.
Congrats, Ashley. I love when everyone's so excited about it. Awesome.
Like a drum machine, but that
Oh, she's freaking out. I love this.
Hey. And don't forget Body Love 20 on loversstores.com for all the amazing goodies. You all are amazing. Honestly, like this felt like a dinner party. This felt just so much fun. And I want to do this in real life soon, I hope. And I hope everyone had fun. So Rain, Elle, Bobby, Marla, Alicia, thank you seriously for being so open and vulnerable and just holding the space for everybody. Thank you. You all are incredible.
Thank you.
Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you.
Thanks to everybody. Yes, thank you.
Thanks, everyone. We love you. Lovers loves you. And keep in touch. And we'll see you next month. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.